My name is Jeff Farbman from the Wallace Center at Winrock International. Welcome to the National Good Food Network webinar, Opportunity Knocks, 2 Underutilized USDA Programs for Supporting Local and Regional Food Systems. These are 2 programs that have tremendous potential for supporting good food across the country, and it gives me great pleasure that so many of you are here to learn how these programs can help you do your work. The Wallace Center is a business unit of Winrock International and is the host of the NGFN webinar series. The Wallace Center has been a leading organization in the movement for a more sustainable and equitable food system for over 25 years. Today, the center supports entrepreneurs and communities as they build a new 21st century food system that is healthier for people, the environment, and the economy. The center serves the growing community of civic, business, and philanthropic organizations involved in building a new good food system in the United States. In particular, we're focused on advancing regional collaborative efforts around the country to move good food, healthy, green, fair, affordable food beyond the direct marketing realm into larger scale wholesale channels. The National Good Food Network, or NGFN, is an initiative of the Wallace Center. It is structured as a network of networks, ensuring efficient flow of information and innovation from boots-on-the-ground projects to the national level and back down to the grassroots level across the nation. The Wallace Center coordinates and supports the network. Our goals are to work with the growers to ensure that there's an abundant supply of good food to meet the higher consumer demand for the product, to collect and disseminate the best models, stories, methods, and outcomes, and to ensure that policymakers are informed about the wonderful successes our network and partners have had so that we can continue to increase support for regional healthy food. You can learn more about the great work that the National Good Food Network does at ngfn.org. We do have a library of fantastic resources for scaling up good food. Especially of our note is our section on food hubs. You can get there directly by typing foodhub.info into your browser. We also archive all of our webinars there. Please feel free to contact us, contact@ngfn.org. So now it gives me great pleasure, and it is my great honor to introduce Deputy Secretary Kathleen Merrigan. Many of you may know that Deputy Merrigan announced her departure from office effective at the end of this week. So on behalf of the Wallace Center at Winrock International, we want to thank you for the outstanding job you have done representing a more sustainable and equitable food system within the U.S. Department of Agriculture. We recognize that working to steer this agency with its numerous and very diverse stakeholders groups is no small task. We are very appreciative of your leadership on many important issues, including more healthy and locally produced food in food systems, the development of infrastructure for regional supply chains, such as food hubs, deepening USDA's role and strategy in addressing issues of food access, expanding direct marketing options for small farms, such as farmers markets, and your willingness to address many other important barriers that food and farm enterprises face in their quest for a more environmentally sound agriculture while preserving economic sustainability. Over 70 years ago, the USDA had a champion of sustainable food and agricultural system in Henry A. Wallace, then Secretary of Agriculture. It is perhaps not since Henry Wallace that we've seen the strength of vision, the skillful policy development, and the tireless effort given in building support for this work. We sincerely hope that the cross-cutting framework, Know Your Farmer, Know Your Food, that you have led over the last 4 years will continue and expand even as new leadership comes into the office of the Deputy Secretary.
Whoa. Thank you for that. To be even in any way compared to Henry Wallace is one of my heroes. Is just amazing. I remember reading Senator Culver's biography, and he said about Henry Wallace that he loved the fact that he said the measure of the man is the degree to which he has sympathy with the plant. So one of my all-time heroes. Great to join everybody on this webinar. We've got to roll up our sleeves, get to work. The Know Your Farmer initiative is going to carry on. And I think we've got a lot of USDA employees both inside the Beltway here in Washington and in our many, many field offices across the country really excited about local and regional food because they know that puts more dollars in local farmers' pockets. It's creating jobs. It's creating greater access to healthy food. It's helping educate young people about American agriculture when 99% of our country has no connection to the farm or ranch. So there really is widespread support for the initiative here at USDA. Don't worry, friends, it's going to just keep marching on and getting better. And that's what this webinar is all about. So I thank the Wallace Center for hosting it. We have a couple of underused programs, as was said, and we want to talk about them. But before we get into the nuts and bolts of community facilities and the B&I program, I want to tell you about this wonderful resource that we've been putting together. We have what we call the Know Your Farmer, Know Your Food Compass. Here's the problem statement. USDA is this huge bureaucracy. We got a gazillion programs and 17 agencies, 110,000 employees. We're huge. How do you even know where to begin to navigate our many programs and resources for the work that you're doing out in the field? How about the compass? It will give you direction. This is a two-part document. What you're seeing up on the screen is the PDF of what I call the narrative part of the compass, where we have really great stories as to why local regional makes sense, case studies that put flesh on our programs and show why making local regional investments for USDA makes sense, a lot of hyperlinks to very important resources like Economic Research Service reports that have to do with infrastructure and local meat processing and all kinds of things. So I really think it's a wonderful read. It's beautiful visually. It's like eye candy. The second part of the compass is this very exciting geospatial map. This is where you can go right to your home area and you can find out what's going on in terms of federal government investments. I say federal government, I just didn't say USDA. Because while it's mostly USDA, we also have 9 other federal agencies that have dots on that map. And we're going to continue to reach out to other federal departments and build their assets onto this map so you'll know how to navigate USDA resources, but also resources over at the National Park Service and the Department of Labor, Centers for Disease Control, on down the list. It's a great resource. You can put in your zip code and search. Find out what's going on in your area, figure out where the gaps are, the synergies, but more importantly, perhaps, figure out what's going on somewhere else and say, hey, that thing that they're doing up in Massachusetts or over there in California, that's totally cool. I think we should do it here in my state too. So it's a treasure trove of information, and when you hit any one of those dots, as you can see from this slide, all kinds of information pops up. What program the funding came from, how much funding was put out for that particular project. A lot of times there's a hyperlink for more information that will bring you to the organization's website. So to the extent that we're talking about a network of networks, here's another networking opportunity in terms of reaching out to your colleagues and finding out their pathways to success. So I think it's a really great tool for you. And I am going to take off. I have to go meet with the Secretary right now. I'm going to leave Eleanor Starmer here on the webinar, and in my place, she is going to be the person carrying on the mantle in a lot of ways. She's been working with me for the last couple years on this, and I'm so excited that my staff from CF and B&I are here. I know Alex is on the phone from the Brattleboro Co-op, the food co-op. Here's an example where a lot of people, even USDA folks, don't realize how the Business and Industry Loan Guarantee Program can be used. So they need to understand what the Brattleboro Food Co-op did. That's the benefit of case studies and really using this map to enhance your work. So good luck, everybody. Thank you so much for those really kind words. And I'm just going to be on the outside of government looking in and cheering everyone on.
Thanks. All right. Really nice to have you. So let me introduce John. John Broussard has been the Director, Business and Industry Division since December 2011. As the Business and Industry Division Director, Broussard directs nationwide rural development activities of the Business and Industry Guaranteed Loan Program of USDA Rural Development, administering a portfolio in excess of $8.5 billion. Prior to becoming Division Director, he served as Program Director for Rural Business Cooperative Service for the state of Louisiana and has been with USDA since 1983. John?
Thank you, Ellie. Thank you, Jeff. It's a pleasure to be with you all today to present programs of USDA. And of course, our objectives of is to present the Business and Industry Guaranteed Loan Program and how this B&I program can be used to support local and regional food systems. We'll discuss various eligibility projects and show you some examples of successful stories. The mission of USDA Rural Development is to increase the economic opportunity and improve the quality of life in all of rural Americans. And rural development state offices, we have state offices in each state office has a rural development office that processes the B&I loan programs, and each office has a business program director and staff to assist you, and you can visit our website to get a directory of those staffs where your project is located. The B&I Guaranteed Loan Program mission area is to create and maintain employment, improve economic and environmental climate in rural communities. We do this by establishing, by working with existing credit sources to establish quality loans and provide lasting community benefits. Some examples of some successful guaranteed loans that have been originated. First, we have the Cabo Country Meat processing facility in Cabo, Missouri. They are a state-inspected full-service processing plant. They process various meat products and also have a retail sales store and cheese division. They received a Business and Industry Guaranteed Loan for an expansion of their processing facility. Another example is the Red Jacket Orchards. It's an orchard for a fruit farm and juice processing facility in Geneva, New York. And this facility built a LEED certified processing and distribution center in 2009. They sell both on-site from an on-site retail store as well as through New York City green markets and regional grocers. They received a $2.4 million B&I loan in 2009 for this processing facility. The focus of B&I program in local and regional foods was established to the Section 6015 of the 2008 Farm Bill. And in that Farm Bill, we reserved up to 5% of our funding within the Business and Industry Guaranteed Loan Program for the first 6 months of the fiscal year to support enterprises to process, distribute, and aggregate, store, and market local and regionally produced agricultural food products that supports community development and farm income. And again, even though we say we reserve these funds for the first 6 months, we continue to honor local foods throughout our fiscal year. We have a reserve balance that we keep throughout our fiscal year that we can use and identify local food products. And so the purpose of the statute, local regional food products, is an ag food product that's defined as one that is raised, produced, and distributed in either the same state or within 400 miles of the locality where the final product is marketed. And some of the questions the project does not have to serve all functions of processing and distributing and storing and marketing. It can serve one of these functions. So the B&I program is available, for example, as a processing facility alone to process oranges into orange juice, or a cold storage facility for local meat products like meat processing facility, or even a community store. The project does not have to handle local products 100% of the time. A significant portion of the applicant's business should be attributed to local and regional food projects. So again, like a community store, maybe products are coming from other areas, but they have a significant portion in local and regional food products and properly identify those products within their facility. And these products can be transported within a 400-mile radius from where they've been originated or within a state to qualify. Why obtain a loan guarantee? It allows the lender to lend beyond its legal lending limits. Many lenders have a small legal lending limit, and the guaranteed program can go up to $10 million to a $25 and $40 million program with certain circumstances. And banks could not lend this without the assistance of a guarantee. It assists the banks in mitigating their collateral, and they can provide, they can receive additional income by participating on a secondary market and yield additional income within their bank's portfolio. And that this is another tool in their toolbox to expand their portfolio and there is a fee income basis that they can receive for servicing these loans by participating on the secondary market. So again, it is an advantage to the lender, and it mitigates the risk to provide those extended terms for our customer. Eligible borrowers, any legal entity, or including a nonprofit, or federally recognized Indian tribe, public body, or individuals. The B&I program is basically one of the only programs in USDA that can actually provide assistance to private entities. Individual borrowers must be citizens or permanent residents, and the corporation must be at least 51% owned by U.S. citizens or permanent residents. And it must be located within an eligible rural area. The eligible areas for the Business and Industry Program is any community of less than 50,000 inhabitants or the adjacent urbanized areas. So if you have 50,000 inhabitants and an urbanized area around this community is basically not eligible for a project. If the project is located outside of these areas, then it's eligible. Our website here identifies the site-specific project eligibility status. You can access this website and type in your address, and it'll tell you exactly whether you're eligible or not. The types of lenders: traditional banks, credit unions, savings and loans, both federal and state chartered banks. Non-traditional lenders can apply as well. And the program is not intended to support substandard or marginal loans to provide relief of such loans. It's here to provide customers with extended terms and better rates and terms, better financing. Typical loan purposes are for real estate improvements, machinery and equipment, working capital. We can do integrated agriculture production with integrated processing facilities, and we can allow some debt refinancing on business acquisitions under certain conditions. The ineligible purpose, a lot of times I tell customers, understand what's not eligible, just about everything else is. So basically we can't do line of credits, we don't do lease payments, we don't guarantee loans for federal employees, and we don't allow distribution of payments to an owner or a close relative or owner of the customer. And we can't participate in federal tax-exempt obligations. Our fees for our program: there's an initial upfront guaranteed fee that can be incorporated in the loan. It's actually 3% of the loan amount and of the guaranteed amount. And then the lender factors in an annual renewal fee that is factored into the interest rate that's paid annually, that's subject to change. Currently, our annual renewal fee is 0.5% of the guaranteed unpaid balance of the guaranteed portion at the end of the year. Our guarantees vary. They're basically from 0 to 5 million, we can offer an 80% guarantee. From 5 to 10 million, we can offer a 70% guarantee. And from 10 to 25 million, we can offer a 60% guarantee, or anything in excess of 10 million. We've limited our applications this year to $10 million. We've done this for the last 2 or 3 fiscal years so that we can stretch those dollars a little further. And so there are cases, though, certain circumstances that we could offer a 90% guarantee. There's no minimum loan limit. Typically, if customers can get their financing without a guarantee, we tell them to do that. If they need that government assistance, we can provide that assistance or work with SBA. We have loan approval up to $10 million without administrator's exception. Anything above 10 requires us an exception by the administrator, up to $25 million for any borrower. And if it's an established cooperative, there's even a provision to offer financing up to $40 million. But again, the last 3 fiscal years, we've limited our loan amounts, maximum loan amounts, to $10 million. We can do real estate terms for 30 years, machinery and equipment for 15, or basically if you're not buying real estate or buying machinery and equipment or refinancing that machinery and equipment or real estate, the rest of it is a maximum of 7-year term. The requirements, you can discuss this with your local offices. We have personal and corporate guarantees that are sometimes required. Basically, the major requirements is that projects located in a rural area, they have to discount a collateral value to support the project, and you meet the tangible balance sheet equity requirements of the loan. Basically 20% for new startup entities and 10% tangible balance sheet equity for existing businesses. So we have special discount rates depending on the purpose of the loan, and obviously appraisal studies, business plans, environmental reviews, proof of insurance are all typically required for any commercial loan. Approval takes normally between 30 to 60 days, depending on our level of environmental review. All the applications are processed within the respective state offices. The states have various approval authorities. Anything above the state's approval authority comes to our national office loan committee for review. So that's where the time frame may take a little longer if it has to be submitted above the state's approval authority. So again, you can discuss that with your respective state offices. We have various web links that you can use, and we ask you to access these web links. You can go to the RBS website. You can click on various loan programs. You can look at the B&I program in more detail. There are additional PowerPoint presentations that are specific for lenders for servicing and making these loans. So again, anyone can access these websites. And again, I want to thank you for the opportunity to present, and I'll let you hear from another one of our success stories from a food cooperative in Vermont coming up.
Thank you, John. Yeah, I'm very excited to introduce Alex Jury. Alex Jury has been at the Brattleboro Food Co-op as manager since 1982. In that time, the co-op, in a town with a population of 12,000, grew from $600,000 a year natural food co-op with 5 employees to almost $18 million today, $18 million a year today with more than 160 employees, full and part-time. As of last September, the co-op was selling over $2 million per year of locally produced food products. Alex.
Hello, folks. My name is Alex Jury, and I have indeed been at the Brattleboro Food Co-op since 1982. And just to give you a little perspective, when I started working there were 3 full-time employees and 1 part-time employee, and it grew over the years pretty rapidly. And so I'm going to gloss over all of the many stories I could tell for the next hour and a half about how we got where we are today, to the fact that the property that we actually have our new building on, as you can see, the brand new building that we built. The co-op portion of the project was $9 million, and the top 2 floors that you see there with the Vermont slate outside of the floors there, that is owned by the Windham and Windsor Housing Trust. So when we were deciding to build our project, we decided that housing would be a really important part of the streetscape of our town. Brattleboro has 12,000 people, and we have a little bit larger market area because we're in a tri-state area right on the banks of the Connecticut River in the southeast corner of Vermont. New Hampshire is right across the river from us. You can see in the left side a little bit of the mountain that's actually New Hampshire, and then just south of us about 10 or 12 miles is Massachusetts. So that's a bit of our location. So we developed a condominium type of arrangement with the Windham and Windsor Housing Trust and built this project. Their portion of the project cost $4.5 million. And so it was a large project. The portion of loan that we were looking for was $4.2 million. And that was a pretty large amount for us to be borrowing for the project. And, obviously, since I'm talking to you today, the USDA was very instrumental in giving our local bank, it was People's United Bank, in conjunction with the Brattleboro Savings and Loan Bank, they gave them the loan guarantee that gave them the confidence to be able to support us in this pretty amazing endeavor. So, just to give you some perspective in terms of what we were trying to accomplish with the project is that back in 1982, we were doing about $650,000 a year, and that was for the whole co-op. In 1988, we had increased that to 1.4 million, and that was about, for the local products, it was about $250,000 a year in local products. And then when we moved over to this plaza, we actually bought a shopping plaza with a building that we have since we tore down last year after we built this building on the same property. And we made a decision to move to this plaza in 1988. For the tipping point decision criterion was that we wanted to allow our local producers a larger market to be able to make their businesses more sustainable. And that was a big decision on our part because it was more expensive to come to this property rather than some of the other places that we had been looking at, which were, half as expensive. So today, what we've done is we have 160 employees. That's almost 100 full-time equivalents. Since we opened this store last June, the new co-op, we have added about a dozen new jobs, and we expect to add many more as time goes on. The state of the economy today, in our area anyway, is such that we are, we're experiencing slower growth than we really had intended. But it's working. It's people love the store. It's a very environmentally sustainable operation. So I'll show you the next view is a little closer shot of coming into the store. You can see we have a lot of flowers and things. And those are not bought on the large market, but they're bought from local producers, local small farmers that are producing those in their greenhouses. Inside the store, this is part of our produce department. And as you can see, there's a sign. I'm not sure how clear it is to all of you, but it says the BFC, that's the Brattleboro Food Co-op, emphasizes and promotes local produce whenever possible. We also offer certified organic produce and source local organic produce when available. That's our policy. So the vast majority of our produce is local. Of course, during the winter time, it's hard to get tomatoes locally, but we're working on that too. The next slide there is cheese. And there's a lot of value-added cheese maker operations going on in Vermont right now. And we are very proud to say that we carry some of every cheese that's made in Vermont at the moment. And that's our focus. So we've, this is only a small portion of our cheese department, obviously, but our focus is, first of all, to buy all the cheeses we can from Vermont, and then if we have some room left over, then we carry other ones that people are interested in buying. The next slide is just another example of the potted plants and the starts and the things that are coming in now at the beginning of our growing season. It's very, very popular. That's what you see when you first walk into the store, the local Floral. So I think that we have benefited greatly from the USDA's loan guarantee, and we were fortunate also to get in during the ARA era, in which we were able to pay a little bit less of a fee for the guarantee, and the USDA was willing then to back 90% loan guarantee rather than the usual 80% that was common at the time. I know John has talked to you about some other programs which are a little bit different from that, but on the same lines. So I just want to encourage folks that, projects can be done, and when they're motivated by trying to support the local sustainable farming and producers, they can be very successful. And we're really excited about our project, and we hope that many more will happen around in our region. Thank you.
And thank you, Alex. I've been to your co-op, and it is beautiful. So let's switch gears now. That was let's switch to the Community Facilities Program. Karen Safer is a Senior Loan Specialist at Rural Development Community Programs. She started at USDA in August of 2011. Most recently, she served at Housing and Urban Development's Office of Healthcare Programs for 3 years, and prior to that, she worked as a multifamily developer. She has experience as real estate lender for Bank of America, has worked for the State of Maryland's Office of Housing and Community Development, and for the Housing Opportunities Commission in Kensington, Maryland. She has a deep understanding of underwriting standards, lending, and project development and execution. She is currently part of 3 task forces at USDA. Karen, tell us about Community Facilities Loan and Grant Program.
Welcome, everyone. I'm going to talk, thanks for the introduction, Jeff. I'm going to talk about the Community Facilities Direct Loan and Grant Program. This presentation is meant to give you just a quick overview of our Community Facility Program. We offer both loans and grants to our local offices in every state. If you have further questions, keep in mind that these programs were designed to provide community facility funding to rural areas. Our program's mission is to help small towns with providing services to their residents. The program has its own vocabulary, which I will elaborate on during the presentation. We can do many typical local and regional food projects in rural areas, but we do have to do it within the context of how the program was originally created. The first slide shows you where we can do a project. We are limited by statute to eligible rural areas with populations of less than 20,000. There is no limitation on populations in unincorporated rural areas except in CDPs. A census-designated place is a concentration of population identified by the Census Bureau, and these are populated areas that lack separate municipal governments but which otherwise physically resemble incorporated places. Eligible rural areas are, they must primarily serve and benefit rural residents and communities. At least 51% of the population served must be in an eligible rural area. We will both look at the project location and the service area for your program in order to determine if you are eligible. What is an essential community facility? It provides an essential service to the local community, and it must be a public improvement needed for the orderly development of a rural community. A food project can fit this definition. Later in the presentation, I can describe the types of projects we can finance. The facility is the physical structure and the equipment needed to perform the function. Whatever funds are used for is considered the facility. We cannot finance operating costs. We have done projects such as school equipment, farmers markets, distribution trucks, and food banks. We can finance projects with public bodies, nonprofit organizations, and Indian tribes. An eligible facility must be a function typically provided by a local unit of government, operated on a nonprofit basis, and within the jurisdiction of the applicant. Jurisdiction of the applicant refers to the organizational structure and purpose, as well as the area where the project is located. This information is usually found in the organizational documents of the applicant. An eligible facility must be able to demonstrate significant community support. They must be able to demonstrate the support, and this applies to public bodies, tribes, as well as nonprofits. The applicant must provide a letter of support from their local government The documentation from a public body could be a board resolution, a bond resolution, or a letter from the mayor. If tribal lands are within the service area, the applicant will need a letter from the tribal government. This is not a requirement for financial support. Eligible applicants is an organization operated on a not-for-profit basis, such as an association, cooperative, or private corporation. Cooperatives are only eligible when they are organized as nonprofits and do not restrict membership. Typically what we see are corporations that are described as 501c3s or organized as membership corporations such as volunteer fire departments. And as I said before, they have to have significant ties to the local community. These ties are extremely important if the project has problems, because once the facility is operating, there is a much better chance the facility will be able to recover if there is strong support from the community. In terms of to be eligible for our grant funding, the facility must serve areas where the median household income is below the poverty line or below 90% of the state non-metropolitan median household income. Our area specialists can help you determine if your project and the people it serves fall into this category. Our grant funding is limited, but it is allocated to the states based on poverty, rural areas, and population. But we have a lot of loan funding available at very good rates and terms. Our current interest rate is 3.5%. Here are some of the types of projects we can fund in our program. Food banks, food hubs, school cafeteria equipment, food business incubators, community gardens, community kitchens, and farmers markets. This chart shows the program delivery system at USDA. Usually you can go to your local office and they can assist you with eligibility and all the forms, as well as the technical assistance in how to make your project more competitive. They are very experienced in working with borrowers who have never done this kind of application. The RD mission is to help improve the economy and quality of life in all of rural America by providing financial programs to support essential community facilities. Our area specialists are happy to assist you in your next food project. This chart also shows how projects are approved. If your project is small, it can usually be handled by a combination of area and state office loan specialists working together. If your project is very large, then the national office may need to review your project as well. Good news. Our state directors are looking for food projects in your state. They do not have a lot of experience with this kind of project, but they have been given direction to try to give priority to food projects within each state. Contact your local office to determine if you are eligible and the forms you need to apply for funding. Thank you for listening to this presentation. If you would like to find out more about USDA Rural Development, contact your local Rural Development office. The website above can help you find where that office is located. My name and contact information is also on the screen. If you have questions about this presentation or about who you can contact, please give me a call and I can help direct you to the right person. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. I hope you all noticed that the definition of rural is different for B&I and community facilities, so keep that in mind. So now let me introduce the first of the two community facilities case studies. The first is a loan. Brooke Johnson serves as the Chief Operations and Program Officer for Second Harvest Food Bank, Santa Cruz County in Watsonville, California. Her team provides food, bilingual nutrition education, CalFresh or SNAP outreach and application assistance, and referrals to 55,000 county residents per month in partnership with 200 member agencies and programs. They distribute 8.3 million pounds of food annually. More than 60% is fresh produce. Brooke, tell us about your experience with your loan.
Thanks, Jeff, and good afternoon to everyone. I'm happy to share our experience. It was a truly positive one. So just a little background on us. As Jeff said, we're located in Watsonville, California, which is on the central coast of our state, about 90 miles south of San Francisco. We're an agriculturally based area. And county-wide, hunger continues to be an issue. Locally, we have 1 in 4 residents challenged with unemployment, especially at the peak of the agricultural off-season. So our food bank is one of these critical community facilities, and we're the oldest food bank in California, and we've been operating in a very basic and kind of bare bones facility. And we knew that we needed to improve our level of service to meet the growing need for healthy food access in our community. And so we undertook a facility expansion project on our own. Overall, it was a 10-year project, about 5 years of fundraising and then 5 years of construction. We started out on a cash basis with our project. It was 4 phases altogether, and the first phase we installed cooler and freezer. In the second phase, we created a kitchen facility and office space for our staff. But at that point, we were challenged to continue with the project because of the economic slowdown. We had pledges committed from donors and supporters in our community, but they were coming in slower. And the challenge that we had was that we had purchased our facility with a property loan from a local foundation, which restricted us from being able to take out a commercial loan to finish the construction project. So we were really happy to meet with Rich Brassfield, the area director out of the Fresno office here in California, who offered us the opportunity to take out a $2 million loan to both refinance the remainder of our property loan from the building purchase, which was a $500,000 remaining, and then fund the remainder of the project, the third and the fourth phase, which was additional warehouse space, including a truck dock, which we'd never had before, and then also a larger distribution area and parking lot to serve our member agencies. So I will go ahead and show you what this made possible. You can see we're located in an ag area. Our facility was just kind of a basic a warehouse or packing type of facility. Now it's doubled in size. It's over 36,000 square feet, and that's given us so many great tools to work with in terms of providing more and healthier food in our community. So we do work with, as Jeff said, a network of local nonprofit and church-based member agencies and programs, and we provide food to them for use in their pantries, meal programs, as well as distributing food directly in our community. So our agency distribution center is where we offer a space for the agencies to come in and select the products that they need for their programs, in addition to offering them web ordering and delivery. And so these are a series of before and after shots that just show you what the USDA loan and the facility expansion has done to really improve our facility and the services we can provide. One of the biggest challenges for our warehouse staff prior to completing our facility project was that we just had bulk stack storage in our warehouse. So now you can see that we have racking, 7 aisles of racking that makes it so much more efficient to be able to quickly put away, and then again retrieve, do order picking, be able to put orders together. It's also it's great for inventory rotation and overall organization. One of the things that's special about our food bank is that nationwide we are the food bank that distributes the highest percentage of fresh fruits and vegetables. This year to date, it's running about 2/3 of all of the pounds that we distribute. This was a challenge prior to our facility improvement project. We had a small cooler located in an outside dock. Now we have triple the cooler space. It's a 1,600 square foot drive-in cooler. And it has enabled us to increase the amount of produce that we provide. When the project started, we were just under half of our pounds, and as I said, now it's about 2/3. We were also able to install a freezer that's triple the capacity. This is a 1,200 square foot freezer. We previously had a small one out behind the facility. Now this is a drive-in freezer that allows us to store many more products, especially the frozen protein that we get. So really, again, helping us to improve the quality of the food that we're providing. And I have to say, for the warehouse staff, this has to be their favorite improvement. We now have 2 SemiTruck Box. We were previously unloading trucks with a steel ramp or in the parking lot just with a forklift. So this has enabled us, again, to just really increase our efficiency, move a lot more product in a more timely manner. We can unload a truck in about 1/3 of the time that we used to. And we also now have a shipping dock that enables us to be able to load up the trucks and get out there and do more agency delivery to help those organizations spend less time sourcing food and more time providing the services that they offer to the community. And by upgrading our facility, we were able to add a number of improvements as well. We added an area of solar paneling on the new part of the facility that had the roof structure to be able to support that. This solar panel array pretty much offsets the cost of the increase in energy use for tripling our cooler and freezer space. And we have also added 2 mechanized compost tubs. They're called earth tubs that we use to, when we do have produce donations that are no longer fit for distribution, we divert those to our composting tubs instead of putting them in the garbage, and we're able to generate about 15,000 pounds of compost in a year, and we provide that compost to community garden programs in our county. It's also helped us to decrease the amount of garbage pickups that we have, so that has been a cost savings to us as well. And as you can see also by that note, we have a bioswale. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's a natural filter for the runoff from our parking lot. So the water is collected and then funneled to this grass-planted area around 2 sides of our parking lot, and it filters through the bioswale before it runs out towards the ocean. We're within 5 miles of the Monterey Bay Marine Sanctuary. So we're really happy about that improvement as well, and that's helped us to be recently certified as a green business. So I just would really encourage folks to get in touch with their area USDA Rural office. the folks that we worked with were really supportive and amazing in helping us through all the steps of the project. They said that about half of the projects they work with out of that area office are projects that are in progress, like ours was, that are encountering cash flow problems. So don't think that just because you're already started that you can't take advantage of this program. It does help to really be organized with all of your plan specifications and permits. That really helps expedite the process. Having letters of support and documentation of community need in your local area is also key to helping to get the project approved. But you know, if you encounter challenges with the process, I would just say to reach out to the USDA Rural staff. The area director we worked with was very experienced in environmental review, which was really helpful to us because we are located in a floodplain and, as I said, close to the coast here. So he was able to help us navigate those challenges. And altogether, it was about a year and a half that we worked with USDA. We were able to complete the the third and the fourth phases of our project and to complete the entire facility expansion on time, which was in July 2011. And looking at the impact that the project has made, when we started the project, we were distributing 6.3 million pounds. When we ended the project, we were distributing 7.3 million pounds. And then the following year, when we went through 1 year of having the facility completed, we were able to increase our distribution by over 1 million pounds to over 8.3 million pounds. And as I said, 2/3 of it is fresh fruits and vegetables, and that's definitely been made possible by the improvements to our facility, especially the cooler and the truck docks. So I would just encourage you all to look into this as a great opportunity for improving your food bank or other community facility, and go to your local USDA Rural office with a plan and a vision and be able to show that you have the support in your community, and I think you'll find them great to work with. We really appreciate their support of our food bank and our community. Thank you.
Brooke, one quick question for you. How big was your loan?
Our loan was $2 million, and $500,000 was to pay off the remainder of our property loan, and the remainder was for construction.
Great. Amazing, really fantastic transformation, and you're doing such great work. Let me introduce Kevin for our final case study. Kevin and Shore Gourmet got a grant from the Community Facilities Program. Kevin Deegan joined the Army after graduation, serving in the 82nd Airborne. He then attended Chesapeake College. He worked as a sales associate for Fred Beans Ford in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, before getting married and starting his own successful company, Deegan Paving, which he owned and operated in Pennsylvania for many years before moving his family back to the Eastern Shore. Deegan assisted Shore Gourmet marketing director Fred Smith for several months prior to assuming the role of general manager in September 2010. Kevin.
Hello, Jeff. How you doing?
All right, good.
Hello. I'm there. I was listening to you. I didn't think you were done. Anyway, Shore Gourmet, we're a local food marketing program in the Eastern Shore of Maryland. And basically what we do, we help our farmers Know Your Food, Know Your Farmer program. We assist producers, value-added producers, and farmers in getting their product to the market from their farm, and also we do distribute it as a distribution center. I do a lot of business in restaurants with the product. We deal with bison, artisanal cheeses. We deal with all local products out of Maryland and Delaware. And basically, let me move to the next frame here. And this, go to the next one. We're a 5016, and the USDA, I'll go to how the USDA assisted me. During the 2 months after I took over from Fred Smith, I needed some help from the RBEG program to get my truck, the truck you're seeing now in front of our storage facility. It's a refrigerator freezer truck that I can get product from the processor to my facility, store it, and also move it to the marketplace. And another picture, next frame. We've been supported by USDA, Marbitco, and a couple other different people, AFT and Midshore Regional Council in Maryland. That's a picture of me at the Maryland Farm Bureau Convention in Ocean City last year with Steve McHenry from Marbitco next to the truck that USDA and Marbitco helped me purchase. And let's see. What we offer with a typical producer is like I'm dealing with an artisanal cheese producer, Chapel Creamery, and we help her get her product to the market. I help her as far as picking it from the processor when she delivers her raw milk. I will pick up her cheeses and bring it back down to Maryland for distribution and also to my different facilities. And I cover the state of Maryland and Delaware on the Eastern Shore, basically, some part of the Western Shore, Annapolis, in that vicinity. And basically, the USDA has been my partner, helping me with my grant program to keep everything, to help us with equipment, truck, and keep us going so we can become financially stable. So basically, that's about all I can come up with on this. The consultation, which we do all that, we free service. We don't charge for our service, and we lend assistance to local companies when needed to get products utilized our refrigerated truck. And basically, Jeff, that's all of it in a nutshell.
All right, great. Well, thank you very much. There's the Deputy Secretary right there.
Yep, yes, Kathleen. She came to our storage facility in 2011. Her and Mr. Brad Powers, the president of our board.
Kevin, you want to explain to people what a 501c6 is?
The definition, I know we're a nonprofit, and I'm not sure of the true definition, but what it does is we're a nonprofit whose charter is to help Eastern Shore value-added food producers develop products and then help them find a market for the value under the IRS. I'm not sure of the principle.
Okay, yeah, there are several 501c types. Probably people are most familiar with 501c3, but there's a cooperative one, and so I just want to make sure that people are aware. It seems like, John, you wanna let's start the Q&A, and John, you want to talk about the different 501c?
Well, that would probably be a better question for Karen, as she handles the nonprofits on the community facility programs. There are various C chapters, as you mentioned, 501c differences. So it's a matter of providing the legal organization of the nonprofit, their charter, to the rural development offices for them to review, and if they need guidance from the general counsel to review the eligibility. That's really the first step to make sure your organization meets the definition of an eligible applicant.
Great,
right.
Thanks.
And I have the definition now in front of me. The said corporation, which is me, we're exclusively for nonprofit purposes as a business league under the federal internal code.
Great. All right. Business leagues, chambers of commerce. All right. Brooke, there are a couple questions for you about how you generate revenue for loan repayment.
So when we started, when we broke ground for construction, we actually had the $5 million that we needed to complete the project committed as grants and pledges. But as I said, with the downturn of the economy, it was difficult to get those remaining pledges in as timely a fashion to be able to continue on cash basis with construction. So that's where the USDA loan came in for us. But is definitely a long-term process. As I said, 10 years altogether, and the first 5 were planning and fundraising by our CEO and our board. They put together a capital campaign committee that had some of our major donors on it, and they helped us raise funds from other major donors in our community. So it was really a community-driven effort, but we also were able to benefit from a matching grant that the Kresge Foundation offers for nonprofits that are undertaking capital projects. Okay,
great. John, a question for you. Are there any restrictions for the B&I program for the stage that of company development? So is it okay for startups as long as they have adequate collateral?
Yes, startup companies are eligible. Typically, our applicants are operational, and the loan no guarantee is issued when a facility is constructed. But we do have provisions within the regulation to authorize the guarantee to be issued prior to construction, or the guarantee to be issued for a startup corporation or an existing business. So, again, there are no restrictions as to the type of applicants, other than unless you're specifically listed as an ineligible loan purpose.
Great. A question for you, Karen. Katerina says, as a public body representative, we have applied for community facilities grants before in extremely rural and poverty-stricken areas and have not been successful, mainly because there are not enough funds. We've been discouraged from applying for these funds, and she's wondering what you think would make a project successful and more likely to be funded.
Is she saying she's applied for a grant or a loan?
Grants. Mm-hmm.
I'm not. Eleanor just had me answer a question.
Fantastic.
And so I think the food bank is a pretty good example of a project that fits that definition of a community facility. Shore Gourmet, I think, is a little, I guess, a more creative sort of example of how the community facility projects can be useful to with economic development in an area to sort of bring emerging businesses to fruition and help them become a reality. And I think that organization is an unusual one, but I think it's a really effective one in trying to get small operators into, I think, to expand their business and get technical assistance plus ways to market their products that they wouldn't otherwise have. I would say it's definitely, both of them are creative examples of community facilities, but we're creative here and we're open to other ideas as well.
Great. There's a question for Karen. Would transportation-related equipment and facilities qualify for a grant or loan, specifically buses or building sidewalks or bike paths?
Buses, we have done transportation-related projects. We have done that, especially we've seen projects where we've assisted schools with getting food to summer food programs, and they often will, buy a bus or a refrigerated truck to provide food in the summer for kids. In terms of the sidewalks and the bike lanes, that really doesn't, I've not seen that kind of project before.
Okay. Can Karen, either you or John, think of programs that are assisting schools? Yep.
Well, our program does work with public schools.
Mm-hmm.
And in that case, we're typically going to be renovating like a cafeteria or, like I said before, a food truck that's going to help get summer food to students not during the school year. So we've done both equipment and trucks and buses for school systems.
John? Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry.
There we go. Okay, we had to get a mute button right. On the Business and Industry Program, we have provided assistance to private schools as well. Again, we've worked with community facilities and partnered in certain projects as well, whether they're nonprofit. If they are nonprofit organizations and can facilitate both programs, we've worked together with joint B&I and community facility loans. So they can be done. We've done them for hospitals, so we certainly can do them for food banks as well. The question earlier on sidewalks and bike paths, there are other business programs available, not under the B&I program, but under our Rural Business Enterprise Grant Program, where a municipality or a nonprofit entity can come in for public access as far as sidewalk improvements. We've done street improvements, downtown infrastructure improvements for accessibility as well. And so there are some grant programs other than community facilities and our B&I loan program that can access these additional dollars. Even with the food incubators, we have the Rural Business Enterprise Grant Program. The purpose of that program is to provide assistance for the establishment and development of small business enterprise. So if a nonprofit wants to come in, obtain grant dollars to either establish a revolving loan fund or build facilities to assist business development like an incubator, that's an eligible project as well. And again, work with your respective state offices and area offices that both your business and community specialists are involved. They're the experts in the field, and they can help you process your application where your project's located.
Thanks, Tom. A question for you, Alex. Is the co-op part of any regional food planning networks?
We have been participating in like the local food hub efforts, farm to plate, that are in our area in Vermont anyway. And also we are part of an organization called the Neighboring Food Co-op Association, which is actually a group of almost 30 co-ops, food co-ops, like similar to us, but maybe different sizes from smaller to much larger, that are in not only Vermont, but New Hampshire, Connecticut, Maine, generally the New England states. So we've been involved a lot in the development of the food hub and food systems in our area.
Great. Okay. John, Lee asks, can I be a business with a headquarters in a city of more than 50,000 if the project is located in a rural area? In other words, for example, a production facility?
That's a great question. Absolutely. You can be headquartered in an urbanized area, but you want to establish like a distribution center that you want your funds to be used for a distribution center, that you're building a facility in a rural area, even though you're headquartered in downtown Los Angeles, but your distribution center is in an eligible rural area, you could apply. And the same thing applies to our other grant programs as well, and revolving loan fund programs. If you're located in an urban area, but your scope of work and your project and your funds are to assist entities in rural communities, you can apply.
Great. Diane says we have a lot of mobile farmers market projects going on. Would funding support that kind of project? I think this is best fit for Karen.
Well, Well, we have done a lot of farmers markets, and I'm not really. I guess I'm not really familiar with the mobile farmers markets, but the sort of typical ones that are, seasonal farmers markets. We've definitely given grant funding and loan funding for those kinds. I'm not really sure. I guess what she's talking about is a truck that goes around to different places. If it is a nonprofit, we probably could finance that.
Okay, great. So there's a question here about how to get funds to places outside eligible areas, or what programs are similar to these. So Eleanor, you want to talk about that?
Yes, and I should introduce myself. This is Eleanor Starmer. I work on the Know Your Farmer, Know Your Food initiative, and jumped on the phone when my boss, Deputy Secretary Merrigan, had to leave for a meeting. So I think this is a great example of how the compass map that she talked about can be used. If you go to the map, there is some space right above the picture of the map where you can click on the search tab. You can search by project, and you can type in a word or phrase that you're interested in. So for example, if you're looking for funding for the construction of a cold storage facility, but you're located in an area that wouldn't be eligible for the rural development programs we've talked about, you can put cold storage into the search term, and it will come up with a list of projects that we have funded, and you can explore those and see the different kinds of grants that have funded those projects. Likewise, if you're trying to build a food hub, you can search for food hub, you can search the word infrastructure, truck if you're looking for a distribution truck, and that's going to return ideas of other programs that you could look at that you might be eligible for. I should mention that, as she said at the beginning, this is not just USDA projects on the map. We also have some projects, not a complete list, but a start, from 9 other federal agencies. And so you may find opportunities if you're looking for larger loan funding, for example, through Treasury, through their Community Development Financial Institution Program, which has some money set aside for projects related to healthy food access in rural areas that come through your local CDFI. There's examples on the map of that.
Do you want to say what it, sorry Eleanor to jump in, you want to say what a CDFI is?
A Community Development Financial Institution, so essentially a community bank that gets funding through Treasury, through the Treasury Department, to lend to eligible projects in that area. Another example of a other than USDA federal program would be through the Department of Commerce. The Economic Development Administration has given fairly significant grants to a couple food hub or food business incubator projects. So we recently went up to Philly to look at the Food Enterprise Center there, where they're doing some pretty awesome small business, local food business incubation work, and that was in part funded through the Economic Development Administration. So there are some USDA programs that are available in urban areas, and we're also encouraging people through this map to explore other federal departments that you might not have known are actually funding local and regional food work, but are and are able to do it in places where we might not necessarily be able to.
Thanks. Harold is asking if there are rural development resources to help him think through how he could use either the BNI or the community facilities grants. Can he just stop in and say hello? So let me serve this over to Karen first, and then maybe John, you want to answer too.
Yeah, they can stop into their local USDA office and ask about, an idea or a project that he's thinking about, and, you can give him a better, I think, idea of the timeline and the funding available for the kinds of projects that that person is interested in. But yes, they can give him a lot of, I think, tips and ideas about how to execute on an idea.
Great.
Also, there are various nonprofits across the country that have received technical assistance and training grants from our agency that For instance, like the small business development centers. A lot of these centers offer free services and can assist you. Some of our grant recipients have used the funding of our programs to assist applicants in applying for B&I loans or applying for our energy programs or community facility programs. So again, if you obviously contact the local service center and they can direct you as to who in the local area could provide you with some of that assistance.
Kevin, someone was very intrigued by your organization and wanted to know a little bit more about what Shore Gourmet does as a business. Linda was asking how exactly some of these organizations that you mentioned supported you. So maybe just sort of a description of Shore Gourmet, and then the types of assistance. Were they technical assistance? Was it monetary, that sort of thing?
Right, Jeff. Shore Gourmet, as I said earlier, we're a local food marketing program that helps the local farmers here on the Eastern Shore in Delaware. Some of the assistance that I do with them is help them not only with just getting into the market, but also their labeling to keep them in compliance with FDA regulations, also with graphics. You know, sometimes they'll come to me with a label that's just not catching, and we have a graphic artist that works with us to do this. And these are some of the things I do with my producers, helping them, and we don't charge for that. Then once we get to that point, we're basically, you know, we market. I buy from my producers to help support the company, to pay our bills, and I deal primarily with restaurants, some small mom and pop stores, groceries, high-end liquor stores, because we do the artisanal cheeses. So it's a great community program. We reach out around about 150 miles around in the state of Maryland and Delaware, and each year it gets a little better, but it's received well.
Good, yeah. And the assistance that you received was mostly monetary?
It was grants from the USDA in the RBEG program, which basically helps me with capital projects, equipment, the truck, and being a nonprofit, we're eligible. So there's so much money per state that's handed out, you know, that's grant availables. We take, every year we file for what's there that we can get to help keep the company going, because naturally we're not charging for our services as a for-profit company.
Okay, and RBEG is Rural Business Enterprise Grant.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's fine.
Ashley has a question. How can county health departments play a role in this? So that could be some sort of assistance, or I don't know. Let me open it up again to Karen first, and then maybe John, you'd like to answer that question as well.
Well, I guess this is outside of the food, but we do lend money to nonprofits to build or expand health clinics. So if she's asking if the public body or the nonprofit wants to build or expand a clinic, we do that all the time. That's actually a more common use of the funds than food projects.
Could it be expanded to providing nutrition, increased nutritional access, food access?
We don't. Our program doesn't provide operating funds.
Right.
Only
Okay.
Capital funds.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
if she's looking for funding to operate a nutrition program, we couldn't provide that.
Okay, but if it were say a mobile grocery store for food access to underserved areas,
Right,
buying the
something
truck,
like that.
something like this.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. I mean, there may be programs in FNS, Food Nutrition Services,
Mm-hmm.
that could assist. I'm just not really that familiar with.
Okay.
But there possibly are more nutrition-based programs within the Department of Agriculture. I'm just not really familiar with them.
Okay. Okay. Actually, John, there is a question here for you. I lost it. Well, sorry. I'll move on. There are many people in them. There are lots of questions. Keep them coming, though. They are terrific. State applications for food. Sorry. Yes. Here you go, John. Can you state again, or which USDA office should be contacted to apply for a revolving loan fund? All right. So let me.
Okay, each state has a business program division within it, and not all servicing centers have business specialists that are able to assist you. So my recommendation would be to contact the business program division in your respective state, in the state office, and discuss with the business program director as to where you could apply for revolving loan funds. We have multiple programs to assist with revolving loan funds. One being the Intermediary Relending Program loan. It's a loan where a nonprofit can apply for to establish a revolving loan fund to relend to businesses up to $150,000 each for their business operations. The Rural Business Enterprise Grant that Kevin mentioned has a multitude of purposes, not only for infrastructure and buildings, but one of those purposes as well is to establish a revolving loan fund. So a nonprofit could receive grant assistance to establish a loan pool to lend to private businesses as well. All of our grant programs are restrictive or very competitive. So again, work with your respective state offices for that. A good example, a lot of times when community facilities cannot assist you, people turn to business programs because obviously, as Jeff mentioned earlier, we do have separate rural area definitions. So if you don't meet the community facility definition of the rural area, you could possibly access various programs under business programs within our definition. So again, work with your state offices. They're the experts. They administer the program locally, and if it requires national competition, they'll be referred to the national office. So again, all applications are processed through the respective state offices.
There's a couple people asked about the wisdom of waiting until after sequestration, and if this was a wise time to apply now, or should people wait? So let me serve it back to you, John.
In business programs, basically the only program that the initial continuing resolution funded was part of our BNI guaranteed loan program. All of our specialty program division funds, like the Rural Business Enterprise Grant funds, were not distributed until the budget has actually been adopted, which has been. So we're waiting on our budget division to release those funds for those respective programs. So absolutely, now is the time to be applying, because typically we allocate funds to our respective state offices, both in BNI and Rural Business Enterprise Grants. We did some small allocations in RPs, and they may be even looking next year in value-added producer grants for an allocation to the states. And so prior to the state receiving those funding, they're pulling these applications and grading and scoring and processing these applications to the point of eligibility. And then once those funds are there, they'll be distributed from that respective state. Typically, under grant programs, under the Rural Business Enterprise Grant, a state receives anywhere between $300,000 and $500,000. The national office keeps a small reserve as well. And so around June 30th of each year is the ending of our third quarter, the beginning of the fourth quarter. So a lot of times our programs are pooled, and then everything is distributed on a national basis at that point. So obviously the March, April time frame is a great time to be applying for grant dollars, because you typically get assistance on the first round of funding. So there are other loan programs as well that we haven't mentioned. within the specialty program division that you could be eligible for. And again, I would discuss that with the business program director.
All right, well, you heard it, folks. Now's the time. So there are many, many more questions, but unfortunately we can't get to them. I will, the email addresses are there in front of you. I hope you've copied it down. People will be happy, particularly the USDA folks will be happy to answer your questions through email. But we do have to close up, so let me just do a few more closing points. I want to thank our really terrific panelists today, John, Alex, Karen, Brooke, Kevin, and of course the Deputy Secretary and Eleanor Stormer as well. This webinar is being recorded and will be archived on our site along with the 40+ other webinars we've done in the past. Feel free to send others who you would think would like to have heard this presentation and take some professional development time yourself. Review this presentation or dig through our excellent archives. They are organized by topic, so you can find what you are interested in. Coming up, we have 2 fantastic webinars. Webinars. This one is a bit of a bonus webinar, but generally our webinars are the 3rd Thursday of each month at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, noon 30 Pacific. On May, we'll have 3 successful food hubs give you insights on how they got started. What were some of the best decisions that they made and some of the worst? What type of contacts did they feel really helped their business to thrive? How much money did they need and how did they get it? If you or someone you know is interested in starting a food hub, I encourage you to attend this May webinar. And in June, Elizabeth Yu will present on a myriad of options for finding capital to finance food operations. Her brand new book, Raising Dough, will have just come out. Come to learn about new options for capitalization and some traditional ones, and understand really how to choose the options that are best fit for your operation. I want to let you know about 3 other Wallace Center websites, foodhub.info if you're interested in food hubs. HughFed.org is our site devoted to increasing food access, and foodshedguide.org helps producers and others in this new food paradigm, this value chain system, learn how to make some business decisions, learn from other case studies as well. You can find the Wallace Center and the NGFN on YouTube, on our website, ngfn.org. Please email us anytime, contact@ngfn.org. If you haven't already, please sign up for our email updates. You can just check the box in the post-webinar survey that I do hope you'll find out. You can also automatically sign up for either or both of the upcoming webinars, and let us know if you think one of your colleagues would like to know about our upcoming webinars. I want to thank you all for your time today, and this ends the webinar.